You already know it's over. Logically, you understand. You can explain it to your friends. You can list every reason it needed to end. You can see, clearly and rationally, that this person is not coming back, and that even if they did, nothing would change. And none of that matters, because every night your brain replays them. Their voice, the way they looked at you in that one moment, the version of them that made you feel like you'd finally found home. You're not holding on to the person. You know who they actually are. You're holding on to the feeling they gave you, and your brain can't tell the difference. Everyone tells you to let go, move on, find someone new. As if love is a file you can drag to the trash, as if your nervous system takes instructions. It doesn't. And the reason you can't just let go has nothing to do with how strong you are. It has everything to do with how your brain processes attachment, and what happens neurologically when that attachment gets severed. Your brain is treating this like a survival threat, and once you understand why, you can start working with your biology instead of fighting against it. Here's what's actually happening inside your head. When you fall in love, your brain doesn't just enjoy the experience, it reorganizes itself around it. The person you love becomes wired into your reward system: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. The same neurochemicals that make you feel alive, motivated, safe. They all become linked to this one person. Your brain starts treating their presence the way it treats food, water, shelter, as something it needs to survive. Neuroscientist Lucy Brown and her team at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine studied this using brain scans of people in love. What they found is remarkable. Romantic love activates the ventral tegmental area, the same deep brain region involved in addiction. Not the same as addiction, but the same neural machinery, the same reward pathways, the same dependence on a specific source of neurochemical supply. This is why heartbreak feels like withdrawal, because neurologically it is. When that person leaves, your brain doesn't just feel sad. It loses its primary source of dopamine and oxytocin, and it panics, it craves, it obsesses. Not because you're being dramatic, because your reward system is screaming for something it was trained to depend on. Researcher Helen Fisher's brain imaging studies showed that people going through heartbreak have increased activity in the nucleus accumbens, the brain's craving center, the same region that activates in cocaine withdrawal. Your brain is literally experiencing the absence of this person the way it would experience the absence of a substance it's addicted to. So when someone tells you to just let go, they're asking you to override your brain's survival wiring through willpower alone. And that's not how neuroscience works. There's another layer that makes this harder. Your brain doesn't remember this person accurately. When you're in pain, your mind does something counterintuitive. It idealizes what it lost. Psychologists call this rosy retrospection. Your brain edits the highlight reel. It plays back the best moments on repeat, the laughter, the intimacy, the feeling of being chosen, and quietly deletes the fights, the neglect, the reasons it ended. This isn't a flaw, it's a feature. Your brain is trying to motivate you to reconnect with a source of reward it's lost, and the most effective way to do that is to make you believe what you lost was perfect, because you don't crave things you remember accurately. You crave things your brain has polished into something better than they ever were. So you're not just grieving a person, you're grieving a version of them that never fully existed, a composite built from your best memories, your unmet needs, and your brain's desperate attempt to get its dopamine back. And that's the trap. You can't let go of this person because the version of them living in your head is better than any version that ever existed in reality. You're homesick for a place that was never quite as warm as you remember. So if your brain is wired to crave this person, and your memories are distorted to keep you craving them, how do you actually move through it? You don't fight your brain. You redirect it. You work with the same neurological systems that are keeping you stuck, and you use them to build a new pathway. The first thing to understand is that your brain doesn't hold on to people. It holds on to patterns, neural patterns, the routine of texting them good morning, the anticipation of seeing them Friday night, the physical sensation of their presence next to you. Your attachment isn't really to the person. It's to the neural groove their presence carved into your daily life, and your brain keeps reaching for that groove even after the person is gone, the way your tongue keeps finding the gap where a tooth used to be. Neuroscientists call this experience-dependent neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on new, repeated experiences. The same mechanism that wired you to this person can wire you to a life without them, but it requires something specific. You have to give your brain new patterns to attach to, not as a distraction, not as a replacement, as genuine, repeated experiences that slowly build new grooves to replace the old ones. This is what tricking your brain actually means. You're not suppressing the old attachment. You're building new neural pathways that eventually become stronger than the ones still reaching for someone who's gone. It starts with something that feels counterintuitive. You have to stop treating the memories as the enemy. Every time a memory surfaces and you try to push it away, suppress it, distract yourself from it, your brain registers that as a threat response, and the amygdala responds to threat by strengthening the memory, not weakening it. This is called the ironic process theory, studied extensively by psychologist Daniel Wegner. The harder you try not to think about someone, the more your brain thinks about them. Suppression doesn't erase the pathway, it reinforces it. So instead of fighting the memory, you let it arrive, and you change how you interact with it. When the highlight reel starts playing, you don't try to shut it off, you complete it. You let your mind show you the golden moment, and then you deliberately, consciously, add what your brain conveniently edited out. The fight that happened that same week, the way they made you feel small, the text they never sent, the need they never met. You're not being bitter, you're being accurate, and accuracy is what your brain needs to stop idealizing what it lost. This practice, actively correcting your brain's distorted memories, is what researchers call memory reconsolidation. Every time you recall a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable, malleable, and in that brief window, you can update it with information your brain originally left out. Over time, the memory doesn't disappear, but it stops glowing. It becomes what it actually was: complicated, imperfect, real, instead of the masterpiece your craving brain wanted it to be. Alongside that, your nervous system needs new sources of the neurochemicals it's been starved of. Not a new person. Your brain isn't ready for that. And using someone to fill the gap just transfers the dependence. What your system actually needs is consistent, reliable dopamine and oxytocin from sources that belong to you alone. Movement does this, not because exercise is a cliché, but because sustained physical activity directly stimulates dopamine release in the same reward pathways that are craving your ex. Deep connection with friends activates oxytocin circuits. Creative work, building something, making something, investing in something that's entirely yours, gives your brain the sense of reward and purpose that used to come exclusively from one person. None of this is about replacing them. It's about teaching your brain that its survival doesn't depend on a single source, that the neurochemicals it's been grieving can come from a life you build, not just a person you lost. And there's one more piece, the one most people avoid. You have to let yourself grieve without a deadline. The pressure to be over it by now isn't just unhelpful, it's neurologically counterproductive. Grief researcher George Bonanno's work shows that emotional processing doesn't follow a timeline. It follows a rhythm. Some days you'll feel free. Some days the ache will return without warning. Both are part of the same process. Your brain is slowly, imperfectly, reorganizing itself around a life that no longer includes this person. And that reorganization can't be rushed any more than a broken bone can be rushed. It heals at the pace it heals. Here's what I want you to understand about where you are right now. You're not holding on to this person because you're not strong enough to let go. You're holding on to them because your brain wired itself to need them. And rewiring takes time. Real time. Not the time someone else thinks you should need, the time your nervous system actually requires. The love was real. What you felt was real. And grieving it is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's evidence that you were brave enough to love someone completely. Your brain remembers that. Your body remembers that. And asking them to forget on command isn't strength. It's just cruelty toward yourself. But here's what's also true. The neural pathway that feels permanent right now is not permanent. It's strong. It was built by months or years of repeated experience. But it is not stronger than your brain's ability to build something new. Every day that you wake up and live a life that belongs to you, that doesn't orbit around someone who's gone, you're laying down a new pathway, thin at first, fragile, barely noticeable. But pathways get stronger with repetition. That's not motivation, that's neuroscience. The same mechanism that wired you to them is now, slowly, wiring you to what comes next. You don't have to force yourself to let go. You just have to keep living, keep building. Keep allowing the grief to come and go without treating it as proof that you'll never move on. Because one day, and you won't see it coming, you'll realize the memory played and you didn't flinch. The song came on and you didn't skip it. Their name appeared and your chest didn't tighten. Not because you stopped loving them, but because your brain finally built something stronger than the ache. And it will. Not on anyone else's timeline, but on yours.